is the rhythm of change. This is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Um, Welcome everybody to the Eric Dawson Show. Um, Happy Monday. It's cold outside, um, so dress warm. What do you say, Diane?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Vincent.
It's Monday.
I think I hear Vincent, but I think he's on the road, so he may have to keep muting his phone. Anyway, I got my sunglasses on, Diane, cause I'm in a mood today.
Look, eyes when we had the
I'm sorry,
I need to see your eyes when we had a
you're breaking up.
conversation.
All right, both of you guys, your audio is really bad.
Listen, use your phone. Yeah.
Okay, you said you need to see my eyes when we have this conversation.
On this conversation, because you know you men, y'all hide.
Ooh.
Rock and run and hide.
Oh no, I listen.
Do we have to be sexist about men hiding? Women hide too.
Nope. No, they don't.
So I'm not listen. I'll take my glass.
Makeup is not hidden.
Okay, so listen, because we only got 2 hours. So
Okay.
so let's get right to it. What is the conversation, Diane?
Okay, so over the weekend, there was a gentleman, Kevin, and I'm not going to mention his last name on his YouTube page or anything like that. People can find him. He's based in California and LA. He calls himself a relationship consultant.
Right.
And there was a video that he recently released on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
of a conversation of a young black woman who called him trying to figure out why she can't find a mate. And he wanted to know what it was that she was looking for. And she stated she's looking for a six-figure man. And he, in response, asked her, well, what do you have to offer a six-figure man? Because you have 2 children, you're in your 30s, you have a pet grooming business. He said, but realistically, he said 6-figure men are not looking for you.
So let me ask this question. She's in her 30s. So she's looking for a 6-figure man in his 30s?
6-figure man, period.
No.
She didn't
No.
put
But
Didn't put an age on it.
age-
Didn't put a color
but
on
listen,
it,
age
didn't put a
matters.
dollar sign.
Well, okay. So age matters, right? And we got to look at the nuance of it.
The age for
Wait a
who?
minute.
The woman or the
No,
man?
for the man. So you want me to take my glasses off? You want to see my
Yes.
eyes?
Let's see it.
All right, I'm gonna take my glasses off, right? See, I threw them down too, cause age matters. If you got a 30-something-year-old 6-figure man, he's not looking to get married at all. Just letting you know that. If he's making 6 figures and he's in his 30s, he's playing the field. He's enjoying life. I'm just letting you know that, right?
Well, you have to, because apparently there's some women out there that believe they are the perfect package, the perfect 10. And like this gentleman said, is you have baggage. Why would we want to settle down with you and deal with your?
Well, no. But I'm saying a 30-year-old guy is not settling down anyway. He's not. And if he's 30 years old, 30-something, mid-30s, and he's making 6 figures, right? He is enjoying life. And I'm going to say be one to say he should be. He should be sowing his wild oats, as they said in Coming to America.
OMG. Are you serious?
Let me finish. Because I'm going to say the same thing about a woman. I'm not just saying this is for man. I'm saying for a woman too. Take your time. Take your time. So if she now is looking for that, she may find that in a 40-something-year-old guy who's now done all those things. He's settled down. There's a saying. It said, and Vincent knows this, and you may know it too, Diane, about the bull, the old bull and the young bull. Right? The young bull says to the old bull, let's run up this mountain and do all these cows. I'm sorry, and do one of these cows. And the old bull says, let's walk up the hill and do them all. So the old bull has a little more understanding experience in life. The young bull is just out there. And I'm saying at 30, 35, because I was 30, 35. I was on the 35th floor of life, as my friend Shep Benyard says. And I understand what that is. And the vista from the 35th floor is limited. And so that 35-year-old or younger guy, he doesn't understand. And nor should he. He's learning. And she shouldn't want to be with him. Right? Now, again, 40, mid-40s. Yeah. But now, mid-40s, right? He's more seasoned. He's on the 45th floor of life. He's looking at things a little differently. And now, what he wants is not necessarily superficial. So, to this guy, Kevin, who then says, because if the guy's 40, 45, right, her having 2 children is not the issue. Her having a pet grooming business isn't the issue. The issue for a 40 to 45-year-old guy is, how do you take care of me? See, so Kevin is wrong. Now, when you get to an older guy like me, 57, on the 57th floor of life, you know what I'm interested in, Diane? Can you read the labels on my medicine bottles? No, I'm being very serious. You start.
That's real.
I'm being very serious. So, all the other things are more superficial. The higher you get on these floors of life, you start looking at things differently. So yeah, you go ahead and have your pet grooming business, and yep, I'll help you take care of the children. I want to understand that you understand what sciatica is. You understand what that means, right? And that you can do these things, that you can help me, right? And because I want to help you, right? Because if you're looking for a 6-figure man, then you want somebody who can help you. But the way that I want to be helped, depending upon where I am, what floor I am in life, right? That's what I'm looking for. So I think that the guy Kevin, in short, probably looking for views or likes or controversy on his podcast or whatever it is he has. But there are greater nuances to this thing than just guys, because guys are different. They're on different floors of life, and they're looking for different things, and they should be.
But what you're saying is what he said was accurate.
Well, it is too, and Kevin is giving her a form of reality in which she has not given some consideration. One of the things, like Eric said, that young guys in their 30s who are making 6 figures, you have to look at, that's a very small field that this woman is trying to tap into first, because they are playing around. 2, women in their 30s do have issues, and guys in their 30s aren't looking for those issues. The other aspect that he's looking for, and I agree with Eric, is that it's a whole different dynamic of a man that she does not fit the mold for. But also, one of the things that you have to look at is the simple fact of this woman saying that this is what everybody has their level of requirement, but she has to look at the simple fact of not saying I need a 6-figure 30-year-old man and I can't find one, and simple fact of saying that one of the reasons that you can't find one is what you're actually offering and what you're actually looking for. And there's a level of reality that she has to face with her requirements. I'm not saying that she has to lower her standards.
That's right. That's right. But she's going to have to look, right? And so Mark says in the thread, some guys, and I didn't say all guys, right? Mark says some guys in their 30s are like, look, I wanted to get married when I was 24. When I was in high school and the teacher was asking what people, what you wanted to do or be when you grew up and those kinds of things, right? I talked about wanting to be a lawyer and all those kinds of things, but then I said I want to be married. And I got married at 24. And I wanted to have children. Like I had this all, like I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. Mark knows this, right? And I wanted to be an excellent father. I wanted my children to be on a trajectory to excellence, right? And I groomed them for that. All of this, I wanted, and I mapped out to start at 24 years old. I knew I wanted to have houses. I knew I wanted to build generational wealth. I knew I wanted to do all of those things. But that's not every guy. That's not most guys. Certainly if you're six figures in your 30s, it's in 2020, different. See, even when I was that age, right? More people were, just look at the trends, Diane. More successful folks are pulling away from wanting to have children right now. Like this generation, they're not thinking about having children.
So then he goes on to say in the podcast, he asks her some more questions because he becomes frustrated because, as you say, she's not being realistic with what she wants. Because she's not saying, I want a guy that's going to love me and love my kids and blah, blah, blah. She's just saying, I want a six-figure guy. So she's saying what you have said. She's looking for somebody to take care of her.
Right.
He goes on to ask her, well, what do you look like? So he said, well, what size do you wear? What's this? What's that? He said, and she says, I'm a 10. And he said, well, how do you rate yourself? She said, oh, I rate myself, a 5 or a 6, He said, and what do you rate yourself when you take that wig off and all that makeup off?
But Diane, can I say this too?
She said, and she says, well, I look the same. He said, no, that's a lie. Because if you look the same, he said, you wouldn't be doing all of that.
Right. But
six-figure men who are making this money is not looking for an average woman. They're looking for above average.
But here's the other piece of this. That's another nuance. And I had this conversation this morning with a friend of mine. And that's why I had my glasses on. I said I'm in a mood. See, at some point, to some guys, sex is overrated. It's about other things. See, so if the trump card or, the high joker in her hand is her perky boobs, right? And her tight ass, and those are the assets that she's bringing, then she's hoping that guy is focused on just that.
And you're right.
You understand what I'm saying? But to a lot, it's, again, if you're talking about a six-figure guy, maybe he's highly motivated, right? Maybe he's focused, career-oriented. And so now you want to show him your boobs. No, that's not what interests me. Right? You want to show me so when he says, so again, this is where I think Kevin he's on some other stuff in some instances and he's on the right track in others. I'm saying she's gotta to simply say, I want a six-figure guy who's going to take care of me and my children, right? Who have a father, right? That this guy may have to contend with and some other stuff that he may have to, right? Listen, she's got to come with how are you, how are you an asset? Right?
So then he went on to say, so if we got together or a man got together with you, would you allow them to discipline your child? And she says, yes. He says, so if little Kevin does X, Y, and Z, that is your child, and I decide to spank him, and she steps in and she says, oh, well, I don't allow spanking. He said, well, then you're not allowing me to discipline. So I'm just going to be there. And then you Kevin's on some stuff. Children together. Wait, you and I have children together, and we don't work out. And then I still have my kids with you, but then you decide these kids that I have now parented, I can't have access to them. So now what?
No. So what I'm gonna say is this. Again, there are nuances, right? So when he uses the term discipline, what does that mean? So if he's saying that I want to abuse your kids, because I'm not one for spanking, right? So if he says, hey, listen, and again, understand, he's having a conversation with a woman, and it's very superficial on some levels, right? Because he's just coming right out of the blue and saying, I want to spank your kid, and in a conversation online somewhere. Like that, like I want to escalate discipline to spanking without reprimanding, without timeouts, without any of the things that fall in that range of discipline, that he escalated it immediately to spanking. She is in her right. And I would say that she'd be a fool if she said, yeah, I'd let you spank my kids. You didn't talk about any other options of discipline? Like that is where your mind is in disciplining? So I credit her. I applaud her for doing that. And maybe Kevin needs to go lie down on somebody's couch. Vincent, mute your phone.
Families.
Mute your phone. We can't hear you.
Vincent, your phone is all jacked up, bro.
Okay, how's it now?
It's better now.
Okay, yeah, I had to switch a few things. But what he's looking at, what Kevin is looking at, is that he's saying that the biggest, everybody believes that the biggest breakup in blended families is money. No, the biggest breakup in blended families is the other children, and discipline is a huge part. And I'm a spanker, believe me. But a lot of people, and coming to that part is that you can discipline our child, but the children that I have no, you cannot do that. And for a man that is emasculating or emasculating the effects of having a man.
Right. No. But you know what though, Vincent? And you and I had this conversation in the other show, right? And we didn't go deep into it. But so what I would say is this, right? Without getting into the whole, corporal punishment thing. If she's not into corporal punishment, if she's into disciplining her children, but disciplining them by taking things away from them, restricting access to other things, giving them timeouts, and she found those things to be successful, and then you have a guy who comes into her life and says, but I'm a spanker. So when shit goes down, I'm going to start hitting. That's a problem. And she shouldn't be with that person, right?
Well, her response to him was, my kids don't need discipline. They're good kids.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? So I'm going to say this again, right? So what, and I would delve deeper into it. So I would ask this question. Have you ever given your kids a timeout? Have you ever taken a toy away from your child and told them that they couldn't play with it? Have you ever, turned the television off and told them to read a book instead of doing whatever? Have you done those things? Because those are all forms of discipline, right? Have you ever told your child you can't have dessert until you finish eating your meal? See, those are all forms of discipline. See, so if he escalated it to this, eliminating all of those other things, so I'm sure she's done those things. And if you open up the conversation to her about that, maybe her kids respond to those things. And maybe what she's saying, so I don't want to beat up and pile up on her. Maybe what she's simply saying is, hey, listen, I have, without saying it in all of these words, because maybe she wasn't given the opportunity because of how he escalated discipline. But if given the opportunity, maybe she would have said, because I do these things, my children respond to them, and I'm able to get them to do the things that I want. Translation, they're good kids.
You also there's another dynamic to look at in terms of blended family and her finding the man that she wants is that that's such a rare conversation, and maybe I can't say the mindset of Kevin, but in terms of me, I have a cousin. She's got 2 master's degrees, 1 child, and yet she has the same issue. She cannot find a man that is, quote, at her level, and you know, and every time she does, one of the biggest things that they run into is the simple fact that she has a child that she thinks time out is perfect for them. Taking away their privileges is perfect for them. Yet the man is like, no. And those are unnegotiables for her. So there goes the relationship. And, you know, she has to find that right blended man, which Kevin was right. You got to bring a heck of a lot more to the table for a man to put up with that. And to go with Eric's point.
Well, why is that putting up? Wait, Vincent. But why is that putting up with?
If you think that just bringing sex into the relationship is the be all and end all to keep them, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, but why do you see? I'm not ready to put a negative connotation on your family member's decision, right? To say, hey, this works for my children. Why does a man have to put up with that? That is just her standard. It's not putting up with it. So he doesn't have to. No, they're on different pages, right? So she needs to find a guy who values science and data that says that when you beat a child, right, that you damage them. That I mean, there's a ton of data out there that says that that's not good. That spanking is not good. And so why is it putting up with it? So this guy's got to put up with a woman who reads books and has determined through science that, you know, you laying your hands on her children would scar them emotionally and physically for life, possibly. It's not putting up with. That's her having standards and loving her kids.
That you beat a child half to death. Because there's a level of societal growth that, you know, like in my day, when my parents disciplined me, today's standard, that's called child abuse.
Sure it is.
And yeah, but you know, understanding that, and also part of the science does show that, you know, all children do not respond well to Pelagian theories of, you know, or other theories of time out and taking away privileges. A lot of children don't respond to that. Some children, you tend to get the good response out of a spanking.
Right, but you know what though? But and you know, and again, I don't want
yeah.
The jails and bullies and murderers are all a compilation of people who have been spanked, right? There's data. This isn't Eric just saying this. There's data. And I would, and what I would say is this, that for the most part, Jody, Kevin, Diane, Jody's asking, who is Kevin? He's some guy who has a blog.
He's a relationship consultant from California in LA. I'll put his link in the feed so you guys can check out the video for yourself.
Right. But you know, yeah, what I would do is this. I would just ask people to just look at the data. And what I would say regarding people who respond well or don't respond well to physical punishment, you know, I would say parents have to have a little more in their toolbox, right, to try to leverage a relationship with their children.
That makes absolute sense. However, you're talking about a man who comes into a relationship,
right,
who does not have children, and he's taking on parenting skills.
You're breaking up, Diane. All right, Diane will be back with us in a second. So,
but Eric, I would also add that there is data, but you know the data has a level of confusion because as much as there is data on other techniques, there is also data stating that the techniques on the other side are effective too. I think parents also have to, you know.
You gotta show me that data. No. I'm not gonna let you do that, Vincent. You gotta show me that data. Okay. You gotta show me that data that says that.
Even Dr. Spock admitted that, you know what, he was
Wait a minute. When was the when was this data published?
What I'm saying is that you have to find what works for you and your child.
No, it's not. No.
Going back to the relationship and also the childbearing and whipping booties and all of that. Back to the relationship. What is realistic to a young woman, a young black woman with 2 kids in her 30s? Why is she looking for the 6-figure man? Why is an average man not okay for her? And
Well, no, she's got to look. She's got a right. She's got a right to have to set a goal for herself. Right? And she may have something to offer. She may be an asset to a 6-figure man. Right? So she may look, I don't know. She may look and say, this is what I'm saying, the conversation, I would like to hear more. Because if I, like I said, if I'm looking, depending upon the age range of the 6-figure man, there are different things that he wants, right? Or needs, requires. And so if she...
I will say this. I don't totally disagree with him because I will say this. If you are a woman and you're looking to marry a doctor, but you don't work in the hospital, you ain't been to med school, you don't hang out where they hang out, it's really unrealistic to think that you're going to walk down the street or in the grocery store and meet and marry a doctor.
Wait, not necessarily. So, because let's look at that for a second.
We're talking about the large numbers.
No,
I agree with Diane.
It's not going to happen. You're more likely to run into a blue-collar worker at the grocery store than you will be running into a doctor.
I'm not saying that that's not true. But maybe
our young girls about finding mates.
Right, but maybe she's willing to maybe she's willing to wait until she finds that doctor. So yes, she may kiss 1,000 frogs before she kisses her prince. But if she wants a prince, she'll bear kissing 1,000 frogs before she gets to that. And all I'm saying is this.
So I want to be the Queen of England. So unless I find the King of England, it's not going to be possible because I'm not in his circle. We have to be realistic about what we want as women and not say that a 6-figure man is what it is. We should be looking more in depth to who a man is instead of what he can provide for us. And if you're not realistic, you're going to do just what he said. You're going to die alone.
I'm with you 100% on that.
So
I'm with you 100%
so
on that, Diane.
I'm gonna say to you, I'm gonna say that everybody should be look. Firstly, I'm gonna say this: marriage. If you understand the foundation of marriage, why marriage started in the first place. Hold on one second. Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. So wait a minute. So marriage was about it wasn't about love, right? Marriage wasn't about, I mean you can read the Bible but marriage wasn't about love, right? Marriage was about being, well, I'm painting this with a real broad brush, but marriage was about being able to transfer, to be able to identify offspring and transfer wealth. Build and transfer wealth. That's what it was about, right? Because before the structure, right, you had men who didn't know who their children were, right? I'm because I don't want to give the whole lesson. So I'm just going to leave it there, that it was about that. And so, yeah, women should be, and men should be looking for a partner to determine what you can do for me. And then what we can do for each other in building. Right? So,
Eric, you sound so sweet and fairy tale-ish. Now stop it.
But it's true. But it's true. And I think that far too many
marriage for different reasons. And when women come out and say, young women in their 20s and 30s and say, I want to marry a 6-figure man, but they got babies, their commodity for themselves has been lowered. Because I
Ooh.
wouldn't encourage my son to be involved with any woman who has kids already, and he's in his early 30s or 29. And the reason why is you don't need that baby mama drama from over there. And I was a single mom. I was very particular and careful in who I dated and brought into my circle. So men should be the same way, and I wouldn't encourage it. And I would not encourage my daughter to date a man with children.
Wow.
Wouldn't do it.
So well, see,
Absolutely not.
here's the interesting thing, right? And we can have these conversations. I had two children in my first marriage. I know we got a phone call. We're gonna take it in a second. I had two children in my first marriage, right? Met a woman who was 10 years younger than me, right? We developed a relationship, right? I had two children. She's 10 years younger than I was. We wound up building a tremendous financial base together. Then this is exactly what I'm saying. So she understood who I was. She understood I was a builder, that I was a business development guy. She was willing to be supportive of that. She was willing to love the children and be supportive of that. In that effort, right, we were able to build and amass financial independence, right?
Okay, so stop. No, stop. Because
Yep.
here go the questions. You saying this is your second marriage?
Yep.
And you already had kids?
Yep.
And you are a man?
Yep.
And your kids lived with your ex-wife?
No.
correct?
No.
Wait.
No, they
No.
didn't. They
Where
didn't.
did they live?
I
Did
had
they have custody?
we had joint physical custody.
Then they lived with their mother.
No, they
primarily.
didn't. I'm saying they lived equal time in both places.
Yes, but the judge considers one to be primary, even though it's
Okay,
equal joint custody.
So we'll get past that. So you had equal shared custody.
Right.
3 days here, 4 days there, 4
Right.
days here, 3 days here.
Right.
Okay, cool. Your second wife, where did you meet her at?
Work.
Exactly. She was in your circle, Eric, in a six-figure circle. So don't give me the
So-
credit
so-
that you found her out at the grocery store because you didn't.
Right,
So
but
you
no.
have to be realistic.
But here's what I'm saying to you. So is this young lady at the grocery store? Is that where we're putting her?
Not putting her anywhere but in your circle.
Well, what do we know? But what do we know about her?
Circle.
What do we know about?
All we know is that she was in the circle of people that made six figures.
No. But I'm asking you about. No, listen to what I'm saying to you. So this young lady, to me, when you said she's got her own business, right? She's got a pet grooming business. I'm saying that she's not institutionalized in her thinking.
No,
That she.
I'm not even talking about her. I'm talking about you and you trying to draw a conclusion as to how you got to the second wife because you had kids.
No, but listen to.
And I'm saying to you, you got a second wife from the circle in which you were working in that was a six-figure circle.
Right.
You didn't find her somewhere else.
Diane, but you're missing my point.
I'm saying being realistic to women to say you can't find a six-figure man if you're not in that circle.
Oh, no doubt. So yes, you're not gonna be no. But we're talking. But we're talking about. All right, so we're talking about multiple things here, right? Because I'm thinking about this particular woman, right? Kevin and his conversation to this woman. So if this woman is, and that's why I went back to her and said she's an entrepreneur, right? So her business is starting. I don't know what she makes. I can tell you that I met a young lady who had a business, and it was called something like a pain in your grass, and it was a dog poop pickup business, right? And I found her information on one of those paper placemats at a diner, right? And I was sitting there having lunch, and I had a dog who was crapping all in the back, let the dog out, dog goes poop in the backyard. It's a pain if you don't go out there every day and clean it up, right? You let 3 or 4 days go by, it's like a minefield out there. So I was like, shoot, what am I? And I saw this, I called her. This woman now, you said she had a pet grooming business. I don't know what she's making. I can tell you that this woman who was cleaning up poop was driving a BMW. cleaning up poop.
Well, I'm not.
So
I'm not saying.
so how do we know that that young lady's not in a sick? So my point to you is, how do we know?
How do we know?
Yes.
Because when he said it, she didn't rebut and say, "Well, I make six figures." That's how we know.
Okay,
That's the
so
only reason we
fine.
know.
So how do we know? But how do we know that her business isn't on the trajectory to get
Because
to?
she didn't say it. Because she didn't say it.
You know what?
That's how
But
we know.
yeah,
That's it.
right.
Because
So
she didn't say it. If somebody came to me and said, "Oh, you don't make this, that, and the other," I say, "Yes, I do." I would rebut it.
yeah,
She didn't say it.
yeah.
She did not.
Let's
say
take this caller.
She didn't even make any reference to the job. Okay.
All right. Caller, go. Caller. Oh, they hung up.
But yeah, so she made no reference to it at all. But with the whole conversation, and you could see even the way he was, and I say, he was very rough with her. He was very rough with her, and she could not handle it. You could see she was very, you could tell she was a sweet person, nice personality, nice looking young girl, but low self-esteem. And you can see it because what he said, she continued to try to explain herself as to why not me, instead of saying, look, this is what it is, and accepting it and saying, okay, well, if you think that's not what it is, then tell me what are the goals that I should be working towards.
You know what though? You know how I look at this, and it's hard. It's kind of like if a person came to me and said, Eric, I want to be a astrophysicist, right? And I go, because you live in an inner city somewhere, and you go to a public school, right? So I look at those ingredients and say, you know what? Chance of you being an astrophysicist, or why don't you think about being a sanitation worker, or why don't you think about doing this, or why don't you think about doing it, as opposed to look.
That's not the same.
No, I think it is. I think it is in a lot of respects. Why not sit down and say to the young lady, instead of beating up on her, why wouldn't Kevin say, okay, if this is what you want, right? Here is what you need to do to get it. Here's what you need to do, right? So no, you're not saying no, you're not going to get it, but here's what you need to do. And if you don't do these things, chances are you won't be successful in your goal. So I understand your goal.
That's what Diane was saying. That's exactly what Diane was saying.
Exactly. You have to be in the circles. You can't say that I work at a cashier X, Y, and Z wherever, and I'm going to marry a doctor unless you work at the hospital cafeteria.
Diane, you didn't see Pretty Woman, Diane?
That's BS.
You ain't see Working Girl, Pretty Woman. You didn't see those?
Young women who are the largest population of single mothers out there to be married. You have to give them realistic goals and realistic expectations as to who they are and all the greatness that they are passing by because they're their eye on a millionaire.
I'm not listen. I don't know. Listen, if people,
most guys in that circle will find this woman, consider her a gold digger,
no,
and exploit her.
No, oh my God, guys, I don't want to talk to her about who she. Listen, I want to talk to you about who.
We got a caller.
I had a caller.
It's weird
that I just had this moment with a young lady that works with me. She is 25 years old. She is educated. And she came in last week and she said, I had a crazy date on Sunday. What was the date? She said, so I said, where'd you go? We went out to dinner. And what was wrong? She said, he came smelling like weed. So I was like, that like caught me off guard. So I'm like, well, where'd you meet him? She said, in Panera Bread. I said, was he ordering in Panera Bread? Or was he working in Panera Bread? She said, he was working in Panera Bread. Please don't get mad at me, people. And I said, that was your first, I said, was he
ding
Panera Bread? Or did
he
manage Panera Bread? She said, no, he was working in Panera Bread. But guess what? You can't expect the worker in Panera Bread to meet you at the table, not smelling like weed.
So this is
Wow. Wait a minute. Stop. No,
Wait,
please.
comment to that.
Oh my goodness.
Here's my comment to that. Wait, Eric, here's my comment. If you are 25, young woman, and you are working on your career, educated, trying to make it happen, Panera Bread employee is not what you want unless he's a manager and that's his second job and he's trying to do everything else. But if he is just a simple employee there and he's not in college, girl, bye. Leave him right here.
Right. So, but so they right.
He may not
All right,
be the
Vincent.
right man,
Okay.
but he's the
So,
man right now.
right. So here's the thing.
Right? So what I gave, my advice that I gave the first piece was, and this is really how I feel, right? So this is what I tell my daughter, right? Don't dumb it down, right? If you should go for the sky should be the limit, because I've been divorced, and very often in our community, we tell our girls, fall in love. In other communities, they don't tell their girls that. They white women send their daughters to college, and they send their daughters to college for hotel restaurant management, to get the smartest student on the campus and bring them home and marry him. I think that's a very big mistake that we black moms make when we tell our daughters. We tell them, just fall in love. So I tell my daughter today, you go to school, you wait till you're in your sophomore year. You look for the smartest man on that campus. He may not be as sexy as you want him, but you can change that. You can work. If he may wear grandfather jeans, you can spruce that up. All of that, as my mother used to say, fall in love with your hood and not the heart, is something that we really don't teach us. So initially, I told this young girl that was hard. Like, what's wrong with you? What are you even doing talking to men working busting tables at Panera Bread? You are educated. You should be looking for better. Okay. And then I left the office, went on some errands, came back, and I tried to change it a little bit. I said, "No, listen, there's some good dudes out there that drive the trucks and do regular jobs and blah, blah, blah. And some of them are good people and solid people. And then there's some a-holes that are executives of companies. You gotta, see what it is. But if you're looking for something, I agree with Diane. If you're looking for something specific, you have to be in the space to find that specific body. Other than that,
Well,
kind of like playing.
if I could, one of the things that I hate that my wife watches, The Housewives, and Alanda, the singer who owns the production company, they had that Coming Back to America wedding. When she was engaged to Todd, her mother was giving her all kinds of grief because Todd wasn't at her level. And she said to her mom, "Look, I dated all these guys who were millionaires, and they were complete jerks. They could care less about my kids. They could care less about me. All they were interested in is having a hot woman that they could have sex with. They weren't interested in marriage." And she said that, and then to look at it, and what vindicated her decision was that once she married Todd, he started helping her, managing her business, and she's grown millions by having a man in which, according to the societal rules of her parents or social rules of her parents, he was unqualified for. But he brought more to help her than anybody she's ever met. But
that was a bad analogy, and I'll tell you why. You know why, Vincent? Because, and I know that story. I watched it back then. Todd was actually a producer on the show, right? It wasn't about Todd.
Yeah, Todd was a producer, but he wasn't at the level of Candy Burris.
Right. No, what I'm saying to you, though, is her mother never liked anyone because her mother was worried about her pockets. It became very obvious after several seasons. It became very obvious about her conversations was that her mother was trying to solidify that no one came and gained influence over Candy so that she can continue to, and which is not, this is recognized that she had power and control over Candy, and she didn't want anyone coming in and interfering with that influence. She's a horrible example.
Well, what I'm saying in that analogy is not the fact of the mother's greed or wanting control over Candy. What I'm acknowledging the fact of Candy's choices and why.
Right, I get you.
I could get that. I could get that. But so Eric, so you telling me you want your daughters to go out there and find the worst of the worst and say, this is who I'm going to come home and marry?
So,
Is that what you're saying?
well, let me answer the question. So I start off by telling you that marriage for me and the way that I've always seen it and the way that my children grew up understanding it is about building, right? And Reverend West used to say to me, he said, Eric, I'll never marry two poor people because they can't build anything together. So you can have one person who may lack financially, and the other person has financial girth, but the other person can help the person who has financial girth in areas where that person may have deficits, right? So it depends. There's a lot. There is a lot. I wouldn't.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is this.
About marriage. So what do you tell your girls about finding a mate? What have you told them?
Oh, I haven't. I don't have those.
You never had that conversation with your daughters?
No, not about not. No. I'm telling you. And I know Olivia listens sometimes. I would love them to call in. I think that again, there's an understanding, right, that that wealth is built through home.
You sound like Vincent now. You dancing around.
No, I'm not. No, I'm.
Had the conversation with your daughters about finding a mate.
I have not. But I answered that. So wait a minute. Okay, but you can't if you ask me a question, right? You can't interrupt me, and then you can't. You got to be satisfied.
The question is a yes or no. It's not an explanation. It's a yes or no, and you said no. So that's the answer.
Right. So I gave you.
I'm going to say to you as a daughter, you should have had the conversation with your girls about who they're going to go out there.
Right. So that's what I. So you didn't, Vincent, please. So this is why I said, let me answer a question. See, because you asked me a question, and when the question didn't get answered the way you wanted it to be answered, then you continue and say, well, this is what I should have done. No. That's why I was trying to explain the bigger picture, right? So it's not about saying to them, you should go and marry this. You should go and marry that. It is about saying, here is what you should want for your life, right? Here is what you should want for your life. You should want to build wealth, right? Build wealth by home ownership, right? You should want these various things. Now, the components that you bring in should all lead to that goal. So for me to sit down and have the specific conversation about who and what character a person should have and what bank account they should have and all those things, no, I never had those conversations. But I had the broader conversation about where they should be, what level of excellence they should be striving for, what they should be looking to amass and to transfer to their offspring. So in that bigger picture, right, they're doing the things that they're doing. So as a result, Lucy's on her way to medical school. She is dating a young lady who is a forensic computer science person, right? Olivia is working in the financial division of Amazon and is dating someone who has a tremendous career. I never had that conversation with them, but I'm saying if they looked and said, in order to bake a cake, I need eggs, I need milk, I need sugar, I need flour, they're going and getting those things because they know the end goal is to bake a cake. I hope that answered your question. No, I didn't. And again, no, I did not. I answered very specific. I answered very specifically to you. I did not.
Conversation with them because you told them these are what your expectations should be.
I did not have. You asked me a question. If you could not like my answer to your question, but I answered your question, and my answer was no, I did not have that conversation. I'll say it again. No, I did not have that conversation. The conversation I had.
Eric, you either had it or you didn't, and you just explained that you did because you set criteria as to what they should expect in their life if this is what they want. It didn't have to be specifically to what makes you have.
No, but Diane, you're missing this, right?
You know what I think? I don't think he did. He didn't have that conversation, right? He just told them, just like Lena's dad will say to her, and now I really do know that that's a male conversation, right? Take care of you, right? Do what you have to do so you can take care of you. You know who had that conversation with them? Their mom, who told them. Because here's the thing.
I'm gonna tell you that she didn't either.
Their aunts, their girlfriends.
Yeah, because Eric's conversation says take care of you, right? And then mom has to come back and say, and don't you go take care of you and have to take care of somebody else. Mom fixes that. But when last time Nina's dad visited, he told her, you take care of you. You make sure that whatever career you choose, you can have everything you ever wanted. And she came back to me to rebuke my conversation to say, well, Mommy, Daddy says such and such and such. I said, that's a dad conversation. I said, and those conversations are going to be very distinctly different. And I'm telling you, he's right. Take care of you.
And you
still take care of you.
And from a man's perspective, and looking at and having that conversation with your, I'm sorry, Jody, go ahead.
No, that's it. You're right. It's just a man's perspective on mom's side, and they fill in the rest.
You know what? I'm gonna do this. Wait, Vincent. When you hear me talking, Vincent, when you hear me talking, it doesn't. What I'm gonna do is this. Because I want to clear this up, right? I don't want there to be any ambiguity. And we're gonna follow this up tomorrow because I'm gonna call their mother and I'm gonna ask her very specifically. No. No. It's not. See, no. But no. See. So you could try to trivialize it, right? But you could try to trivialize it. But I thought we were having Vincent, please. Vincent, please. Vincent, please. Vincent, please. And I'm saying to you, no. Right. And I'm saying to you, no. And so I think it's right to say then, well, Eric, you didn't have it. Then I believe that this is what happened. And I'm saying to you, I know what occurred in my circle, right? I'll verify that. And if I'm wrong, then I'll say that I was wrong. Oh, she had that. I didn't know she had. But I'm gonna ask because all of this is important. I think if we're having this conversation about this guy Kevin, this young lady, how women and or men should be perceiving relationships and how they should be moving forward and what their expectations should be. For me to say that, well, she needs to understand what her place is and what her current value is, and she needs to be operating at that. So if she's a 5, she needs to be functioning as a 5. And I'm saying no. If she has the desire to be a 10, then I'm going to help her get to a 10. I'm not going to sit and say, hey, listen, you're a 5.
I've been really waiting a long time to get this point, and can I have a minute? From a man's perspective, one thing is that our conversation is different because a lot of men come to the realization that my daughter in her search for a suitor or spouse, one of is that in this man, there are going to be some characteristics which exemplify or mirror me. So there are certain things that I don't have to go into, but there are some things that I do have to let her know. That's it.
And one of those things is don't bring home no bum.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank
bring
you.
home no bum.
Thank
Bring
you.
home somebody who is not equally yoked with you. If it's this religion and we're this religion, you need to understand that there's going to be some discussion about who's going to convert over to what, and that should be important to you. So there are conversations. You may not see it that way, but I'm sure everybody has had them at some point.
Exactly. And one of the things that we look at as men is what we do for our daughters. We sacrifice a great deal to give our children a level of pedigree that makes them very marketable. Now you just slap me in the face by bringing home this bum who wants to smoke weed and wants you to pay for it.
So I'll give you another example. On another show, and you talked about housewives, Vincent, on another show, I think is Potomac, Housewives of Potomac, there's an African woman that's on there, Dr. Wendy, and her mother and her are having a conversation, not about relationships, but they're having a conversation about what her expectations are for her daughter. And the daughter, Wendy, Dr. Wendy, stated that when she married her husband, because one was from the Igbo nation of Nigeria and one was from a different one, that the families fell out because they believed that Dr. Wendy was from a lower pedigree. And since have not seen their kids who are now like 7 and 8 years old and have not spoken to them, the husband side of the family. So there are many different cultures that say just what you say, Eric. I mean, Vincent, we raise our kids to be in a certain echelon to make sure that they marry into that echelon. We may not have the vocal conversations about don't do this, this, that, and the other, but we set them up to be there. So when you have somebody who is not in that, you have them looking for somebody in your echelon. You're saying, no, 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 push back. And for those people who are trying to get into an echelon that they were not bred into, I'm going to say, you have to be realistic of who you are and what you're doing with yourself when it comes to relationships and how to get to where you want to be, if that's what you want.
And that's true, but also I have to look at if my child is marrying up. That yes, she's going to deal with those obstacles of being looked down. But I think that if this relationship is going to work, it can definitely come past that. And I saw that episode that you were talking about too, and I agree with it. But she has proven her in-laws wrong. She's got her doctorate. She's a CNN contributor. This woman in which they are looking down for is basically in the top 5 of her in-laws in terms of income and progression.
Right.
All right, I have a question for Eric. So, Eric, you said Lucy's going to med school?
Yeah, man. She may be going to Stanford.
Okay. Eric, what if Lucy brought home the garbage man? Would you not be offended?
No.
He is making 6 figures.
Right. So see, this is what I'm saying. So listen.
You know what I mean, Eric. You wouldn't have an issue with that?
No. So again, let's deal nuanced with this, right? So if he's a garbage man that treats her bad, right? Garbage man that hits her, a garbage man that cheats on her, a garbage man that does all of those things, then yeah, I got a problem with his character, not with the fact that he's a garbage man. See, because he could be a dude working on Wall Street, right? That has some chick, you know, staying in a hotel for him and some other kinds of things. And but you know, he's wearing Brooks Brothers suits and Johnston Murphy shoes and Rolex watches, and so on the outside, you know, he's all these things, and on the inside, he's crud. So it's more nuanced, and that's what I'm saying. It's more nuanced than that. It's more nuanced than that. Listen, I can tell you, I know guys, right, who are complete stay-at-home dads, right? Complete stay-at-home dads. They cook, they clean, they wash, they do all, and their wives are making crazy money, $200,000, $300,000 a year. And that guy, but let me finish. So that's another. So we can get into. But what I'm saying to you is this, right? So that guy, if you ask what his profession is, right? Right? This is what he does. But you know what?
But
She's
then-
she's
but-
happy,
we-
and what
we
he's
also
able
have-
to do for her, what he's able to do for her is support her in being successful.
her ambition.
That's absolutely right. And that support is immeasurable.
But we also have to look at this in terms of the woman who wants a man with six figures. And one of the reasons, I'm not saying that this is the reason that she says six figures, is the simple fact that women are the only ones who have to work by, they get the option of working by necessity or choice. The bulk of it, in terms of supplying and caring for her needs, rests on the man. So
I'm gonna go back to this, Eric. When they were house husbands, where did they meet their wives that they were able to convert from their career into a house husband? Because these men didn't start off that way. They were corporate in the same circles before they reverted to being a house husband.
Yes, Eric. Was it a big sacrifice for him to give up his career and his ambitions to fuel and foster hers?
Oh, it's listen. No, so I'm gonna answer the question, right? But if we did, but look, I'm gonna answer the question. But if we're getting down into, and I always talk about this, right? We can talk about anecdotal stuff, right? So you want to know about a very specific situation so that you can attack it and try to get back to your point. But no, I'm gonna answer your question, Vincent. No, but Vincent asked me a question. I'm gonna answer the question. I'm gonna give you a very specific example, right? So I can give you two examples. One guy was a graphic designer, right? Doing freelance work, struggling, because he was my I used to retain him.
Too many details. Just.
No, that's okay, because I could bring, but this is what I'm saying. I could bring some of these people on the show to talk about this, right? And their evolution and the things that they did. And if they and if folks subscribe to what you're saying, what? So the deal is you don't want to hear what I have to say. You want to impose your thought about it.
What I want to do is
Right.
break it down and bring it back to this young woman.
No, I'm always about that.
No, wait. Answer the question. Was this couple black or white?
What?
Was the couple black or white?
What does that have to do with it?
Answer the question.
What is? I'm not. I think that's nonsensical. I'm not answering that question.
Why you can't answer the question? Because the couple was white, and we're talking about young black women who have these expectations of marrying people that they are not in the circle of. That is what it is.
So you know what? See,
different examples of people in your circle that were white,
right?
That are now
Okay.
house husbands.
So if you want to have, all right, you can try to talk over me, right, to get to your point, and then you could try to all right, I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you would let me.
I'm not gonna talk over you, but I would appreciate when I talk, you don't talk over me too.
Then stop. I'm going to say it again. You can give as many examples as you want of the people in your six-figure circle who were white men who are now house husbands. We are talking about a young black woman with kids who's trying to nab a six-figure man because she wants somebody to take care of her.
Are you finished?
There is no comparison.
Are you finished?
When I finish, you will hear a period, not a pause. I'm finished. Go ahead.
All right. Now, I want to say this uninterrupted. That is crazy. That's like saying to somebody who's living in urban America, you know what? Understand where you are. Understand your place. And don't try to achieve anything greater than this. That is crazy talk. I don't care if she's black. I'm saying to her, you're great. You come from greatness. You should aspire for greatness. That's where I am with all of my conversations. And so if she's a black person, I'm going to try to take her and say to her, hey, listen, this is what you want, right? You deserve to have it. You have to work to get it. That's it. Not understand. Let me finish. No, I'm not done. I asked if I could talk uninterrupted. Right, but Diane, you can't ask not to be interrupted and then interrupt. You can't do that. Right. No, you didn't hear period. So what I'm saying is this. to limit this black woman because she's black, I think is horrible. Now I'm done.
So I'll say it again. When you're talking about a career and expectations and you can have the world, that's wonderful. But when you're talking about people's emotions and how people look at each other, that's different. So you can't tell somebody aspire to a six-figure man because that's not an emotion. That's a financial expectation. Two different things. And I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it. If you're not in that circle, you cannot achieve to grab anybody if you're not in the circle the financial circle that you claim you want to be in. That's it.
Okay, that sounds like a period. Can I
Yep.
get
Go ahead, Vincent.
Well, I like to say two things. First and foremost, you both are correct. You're just coming at two different angles in which I don't know if one's sidestepping the true issue. But Diane is right that if this is what, and Eric is right, if this is what you are aspiring for, then go for it. But that brings the point of Diane saying that if you are aspiring for this, then it's a pipe dream unless you are in this circle or getting in this circle to prepare yourself for your goal.
Right, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, if you're gonna be dancing on a pole and you think you're gonna do this,
here's my second point, Eric. I'd like to officially welcome you into my world because when Diane gets on it, she's on it.
so
You can give,
right.
You can give up anything. She is going to hammer the point until you submit.
Right.
Tap out, brother.
Right.
Save yourself.
So I'm not disagreeing with that piece of it, right? I'm saying, but if you, which is why when you asked me if I had the conversation, right? My conversation is about what you want for you. So to that young lady, right? If you, and the simplest way for me to say, you want to bake a cake, young lady, right? You're gonna need flour, sugar, eggs, milk, right? Butter, right? You're gonna need those things, right? If you don't have those things, you're not gonna bake a cake. It's gonna be something else. It's not gonna be a cake, and that's it.
And what Diane is saying, baby, you in the wrong store. You can't get the ingredients from the cake sitting at a hardware store. It ain't gonna happen.
Right. So when you say to me, but this is where we take this leap, and I asked Diane this question about the young lady, right? I said, well, she's an entrepreneur. She's got her own business. That's all I know about her, right?
Right.
And so now when we take the leap and say, well, her company isn't a six-figure company because she would have said so. I don't know if she would have said so. I don't tell people how much money I make.
Absolutely.
Right?
I would assume when he was badgering her and said that would have sparked something and said, but wait a minute, my business is doing great and I have several.
No, I understand that's an
whatever
assumption.
it might have been, but she didn't say that.
Right.
She stayed in her small little space and just absorbed what he was saying, and then she went back to saying, but you know, why can't I? And this is into that mode.
Right. And so, look, I would say to the young lady, continue to work your business, right? Working for years. Like my grandfather always told me, you can't, when you die, you can't leave your children your job, but you can leave them your business. So I would encourage the young lady to continue to press forward with her business, right? And if she does that, right? If she works her business, right? All of these other things will come into place. But do that. Work your business.
And I would tell her to back off of that checklist because it's unrealistic. Because that's just one thing that she said in regards to the six figures. If that is your level of expectation for a man, then you've got a lot to do. Thinking to do about yourself and who you are as a person.
Oh, sure.
Because the financial amount should not be at the top of your list and the only thing that you're talking about.
Yeah. So
in terms of her expectations, let me quote Colin Powell. Success is given to the person who is prepared for it. If she is not prepared for this great expectation, in terms of getting herself in the area, exposure of people who are in that financial level, then her level of success or achieving that success could be a very low percentage.
Well, this is true. So we'll go on to the
Now,
Can I put my glasses back on?
Mommy and Daddy, are y'all going to make up because you're making us kids nervous?
Can I put my Can I put my glasses back on now? Damn it!
You can put your glasses back.
All right, I got my glasses back.
You might want to leave one off because Biden just picked Xavier
Hello.
to lead the Health and Human Services.
'Cause
A former congressman who would be the first Latino to run the department as it battles the surging corona pandemic.
well,
He also picked a black man as his attorney general.
Jeez, he good with it. He was ready.
hey, listen. Vincent's on that Biden email list.
To be honest, yeah, I got texts from Biden and his staff and everything. I'm on the list, but yeah, because he gets his email and his mail list out before he gives it to the press. I think probably like an hour, but yeah, he's doing his thing and he is working on diversifying the actual his actual cabinet.
Okay, so Basiria's experience in Washington may also help Biden secure legislative changes to bolster the Affordable Care Act, a central promise that the president-elect made in 2020 campaign. Basiria, 62, served 12 terms in Congress, representing Los Angeles, before becoming the Attorney General of his home state in 2017. He is the first Latino to hold that office, and while in Congress, he was the first Latino to serve as a member of the Ways and Means Committee, where he worked on health care as a senior member of the Health Subcommittee. He also led the House Democratic Caucus, which he gave a powerful leadership post.
Well,
so, is there anybody in Obama's cabinet that ain't going to get another job again?
Well, everybody said the same thing about Obama's cabinet when he brought on some of those Clinton people.
And see what we got? That's the whole reason. Stop repeating.
we got the swamp. Listen. America got the swamp. Black people got swamp ass.
Well, I think, and I'm going to say one thing in his defense, he is preparing himself with people who know how to move and to get things done. So I have a level of anticipation to see how this works out for him. I'm praying that it works great for America, especially Black America. And, like all presidency, it's like when your baseball team goes into spring training. There's always that hope of expectation of their success.
Yeah, and then you realize you're a Jet fan.
It's like being a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
That's right.
It's like loving classical literature. You expect the best. You love it to death, but in the back of your mind, you know it's going to end tragic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they don't expect the best, they hope the best. That's different. Expecting and hope are two different things. So they hope. They hope. Right?
So from the Cut article, there was an article called The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America. Why do white men get so many chances to succeed while marginalized groups get so few?
Because that's how the game was set up.
The corporation of white supremacy.
Yeah, those are the rules. The rules are you get to go over again. You remember that? Remember when you played at your house, right? You set your house rules.
Rules.
That's right. Those were your rules. And then whoever your guest was, they're like, hey, that's not how. No, these are the new rules. These are the rules. I get to go again.
We play spades over here.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah, and so these are their rules. We listen. We are like it or not, we are in their house. We were not we were brought here and enslaved to be the commodity to their wealth and their power. That is it. So we understand that. And so they will continue to change the rules until we blow the whole thing up.
That's the whole thing about the rules, is that once we start getting success by their rules, they change the rules.
They change the rules. New
So
rule.
that's what the
Wait a
law
minute, what's his
was.
name? Bill Maher? New rules. That's right. They just
So
say,
basically, the rules are the laws. So as soon as they feel as though that some
yes.
particular group is getting too advanced, they change the rules for them
That's absolutely right. That's
or the law.
absolutely right. That's 100%
So,
right.
Facebook has been advertising to offer pregnant women in Turkey to have their babies in the U.S. to become American citizens. Do you think that we have some immigration issues that we need to address?
Wait a minute, you're saying that Facebook is promoting?
Has posted advertisements tantalizing offers for pregnant women in Turkey. Quote, if you believe your baby should be born in the U.S. and become American citizen, the ad says, this is the right place for you.
Huh.
It was in a New York Times article called "Women in Birth Tourism: A ring that has had 119 babies on Long Island birth."
Wow. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I got to read
It's
into
about
that.
citizenship. I'll send you the article.
Yeah, but I'm saying why would like I don't understand
Why would they want
Facebook.
to do that?
Yeah, why Facebook would be. Yeah, I
Well,
got.
I guess they allowed the advertisement to go
Oh,
forward.
so somebody else. Okay, somebody. I
Yeah.
thought you were saying this was a Facebook advertisement. This is an advertisement by some organization that Facebook didn't.
Did not take down, and they allowed them to keep going with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know who the organization is?
Some Turkish organization. I have to read through it to let you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, it's not offensive, right? I mean, if you look at Facebook's community rules and laws, right, it's not
Well,
offensive.
yeah, not offensive to Facebook. I'm talking about the immigration itself as to what people are doing to um to maintain citizenship here in the United States. Going back to what we talked about before with censorship as to
Right.
who should be counted in the census.
Well, listen.
How,
So
where's
here's
the
what I
money
would
go? What can we
here's
do?
what I would say to black people, right? Again, foundational black Americans. All of these people want to come here, right, to seize on what they see as the land of opportunity, right? That you built. That's why they want to come because of the great work that the foundational black American did in building the wealth of this country. That's the attraction. And when they come, they're coming to step on your neck like everybody else. So whether they come, how they come, who posted the ad, what the census is, black people should understand what the attraction is, why there is an attraction, and where we're gonna fall on the totem pole. And then we need to respond accordingly. That's it. That's it. So more people want to come because of the wealth that we built for this country. And they don't value us. They don't value us. They have the same image of black Americans as so many other people around the world. They think we're lazy, we're trifling, good for nothing, dumb, right? And they're happy to come here and have us be a commodity to their wealth and power too, because they know that that's what we're used to being.
Well, there's always a group of people who need, in fact, wealth and power is basically built upon the commodities or assets of, or exploiting the assets of others to increase your wealth, which of course is used to increase your power. One thing that Wang said in his presidential was that no, what we have to realize is that these people need us and we should demand more and better, and that is evidently true. Yet America has always had an immigration problem. And in terms of Americans' immigration, they should actually start looking at, taking some of, I guess, the American Indians or the Native Americans should be the only ones who are actually pushing the halt of immigration. And because we're looking at everyone of white or white descent, they were voted in here. Okay, so if we're going to change that, then we need to change that and stop limiting to, tighter restrictions from unfavorable nations in terms of getting their citizenship. Let's look at changing the simple fact of their mindset, and instead of learning white American history or the framers of our that they call the framers of our country, let's look at the contributions that the descendants of slaves have made, and let's stop minimizing the understanding of the contribution of Black America.
All right, let us be clear. I'm not a descendant of slaves. I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. Difference. See, they weren't enslaved. They were enslaved.
Tomato.
No, it's not.
Here's the thing about
No.
slavery. And let me break
No,
it
no,
down
no.
for you in two
But
minutes.
let us be
Slavery.
clear. Let us be clear. They were enslaved. See, we have to be clear about how we speak about this. They were enslaved. They were not slaves. They were enslaved.
Okay, but if you are enslaved, then phonetically, what does it make you?
An enslaved human being.
Okay, so when they write it down, they said this is my enslaved and
When who wrote it down?
being,
See, so now let's go back to the corporation white supremacy. Who wrote it down? Who determined, who wanted to create the mindset that you were slaves as opposed to enslaved? See, because if you,
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
ah,
I know that.
no, but I just want to clear the record. They were enslaved, not slaves.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Well, there are some people who say that they're not black; they're magenta. But there's a whole different story. But the whole thing is that okay, we're going to overhaul the process. Then overhaul it right. Let's not make it one-sided. Let's not give people the fake and fake ideal of what America is. Let's start telling the truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm all for telling the truth, but ain't nobody, nobody who has any power is telling the truth. Not even, your beloved Biden.
Well, I agree because but I ran into one guy who's a multimillionaire, and we were talking, and he was into telling the truth. He said, "Would you believe that my great grandfather was a pimp?"
Yeah.
Like, yes. So, yes, there is a questionable stain on America and America's history and process.
Questionable
Before
stain?
we get resolution, we have to have the conflict and acknowledgement that this actually truly happened and tell it for what it is. They're still reading the history books furnished by the daughters of the Confederate that basically considers slavery to be just this little mild thing and that slaves were treated so well. No.
Well, but wait a minute. You just used the term questionable stain. It's not a questionable stain.
Yes. That is the stain in which we are questioning, that they will not acknowledge the part of which they are avoiding the truth.
Yeah, see, I would say, again, Marion Williamson said it best for me. There is a moral turbulence. Not a questionable stain. There's a moral turbulence.
Again, it's one's choice of semantics.
Yeah.
Just like you said, those who are enslaved, and some will say slaves.
Yeah.
It is a question of the person who's speaking and their level of semantics.
Yeah.
Now, Eric likes to be, in your face, take this, take that. No. Okay, let me rephrase that. Eric likes to be a lot direct, and some people like to be a little tactful and political.
Yeah,
But,
I can't be political about the brutality of slavery. I can't be. There's no way to be, diplomatic about that. It is what it is. I don't think Jews are diplomatic about the Holocaust, right? I don't think they're political about the Holocaust, right? I think that they speak very bluntly, very in your face about it, right? And I think that black people, black Americans have the courage to speak very bluntly about, how this country was built, how white privilege was established, and how it's maintained. right? We have to speak very openly and bluntly about that. Otherwise, it's not going to change, right? But
Well,
we've
also
been
they have to
conditioned.
understand and acknowledging that, then they can come to some sort of solution and how we are overcoming it.
Yeah.
And push towards that instead of being lulled into a false sense of belief that we're in a racial ethic society now in America. Blacks can do no. Please don't confuse yourself. Don't set yourself up for that heartbreak because the same systems, the same corporation of white supremacy still exists to
Yeah.
this day. Everybody believes that the Civil War is over. And I keep telling people, no, they're still fighting it. You're just in the belief that it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah. So, what else is there in the last 8 minutes, Eric?
Today is the 79th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. So, educate us. Was that the attack with the Japanese?
Yes, it was.
Where America has since paid them reparations?
Yes.
Want to talk about that?
Well, let us talk about the attack on Pearl Harbor and us paying them reparations. And this is when we went to Honolulu and actually saw it. They show a video in which, for the first time in American history, they actually told the truth. Pearl Harbor attack was basically because the United States and American businesses were interested in Hawaii. But America kind of weaseled in, did some political pulls, made them a state, and started instituting and taking away its resources, in which Japan retaliated by force. So that attack, in fact, the U.S., the ship that has sunk, it still leaks oil to this day. And going over is very somber and understanding that, of the 2,079 people on that ship, 75 survived. So, it was, in fact, in seeing it and going up there, it was very tearful for a lot of people that actually saw that and its memorial. Yet, it's a part of American history in which we need to remember and understand that everybody is not going to go along with the premise of white superiority or American white superiority being right. Some people will attack back. We went through that. Go ahead.
The United States won. They got Hawaii, and they paid Japan reparations. I'm confused as to what we need to understand. But I trust you. In San Diego, though, Vincent, their teachers are being offered white privilege training, and they want their participants to commit to being anti-racist.
I love that. I didn't see that. Please.
White privilege training?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to be trained to know how they're wielding white privilege, or trained to acknowledge that there is white privilege?
So San Diego Unified School District is reporting and offering professional development for teachers to undergo white privilege training, in which they must accept that their supposed unconscious bias is perpetrating racial structures.
Yo, you know what that's like doing? That's like taking a fish that's been in water and saying, "Hey, do you know this is water you've been swimming in?" Because the fish just swims, doesn't know. So they wanna, yeah, okay. Oh gosh, oh my head hurts. Listen, I saw a post yesterday. Folks are still out there talking about this vaccine and how people are giving up their rights and may have to, give up their rights and how to fight back and, the evils of the vaccine. Look, um, uh, you know, I, I believe, we're at what, 280, almost 282,000 deaths now, right? In my family, over the last week and a half, 2 of my family members contracted COVID-19, right? Um, a friend of mine died 2 days ago from COVID-19, from complications, right? Um, uh, this thing isn't going anywhere. And they're now talking about this massive swell as a result of the holiday, stuff, right? Um, um, Look, I, I don't see getting back to school. I don't see public places really opening up. I don't see,
California shut down.
yeah, I don't see the economy coming back in any significant way. I don't see any of those things happening without a vaccine. And so, to on the one hand, talk about, how, we feel for these businesses, black businesses in particular, right? And how we feel for people and families of those who have died, black people in particular. But then to, out of the other side of your neck, talk about, how how people should resist the vaccine. I don't understand the logic. I really don't understand the logic, guys.
Eric, you're looking at in America right now, their last survey is that every 36 seconds, someone is reported contracting the COVID virus. That's not even to mention those who have the virus and are asymptomatic and don't get tested. But we're looking at the situation where, we are in dire straits, where businesses are shutting down. As we said, California is shutting down. And the simplest thing that we could do, people are not doing, which is causing their prediction of 300,000 deaths to be very much true. But we keep wrestling with what people want versus doing what's needed.
Right. And so I want you guys to understand what's happening right now. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Because they've done models, right? The biggest issue that this country was concerned about, I mean, the deaths, yes. The, how contagious the disease is, yes. They're concerned about the infrastructure to be able to manage it, right? And the overrun of the hospitals. And that's still of concern, right? That if this thing is like, could turn and these hospitals could be overrun and people who need other kinds of services, right, could be at jeopardy. And so that is a big concern of these folks as they're looking at this thing. See, we see it from one perspective, but we're not looking at the fact that when these hospitals were being overrun, right, they were saying, look, somebody who has a heart issue or somebody who has, kidney issue or somebody who has something else, if you don't have COVID, you don't have access, right? Somebody who needs a ventilator, ventilators are all taken up. All these things, right? So all of these other see, we take for granted right now that if you've got an issue, you just kind of go to the hospital and they treat you and they do whatever. If these hospitals overrun with COVID-19 patients, that access to those facilities will be halted. Right? We take for granted that if there's an emergency in your house, you can dial 911 and they'll send an ambulance. If this thing gets out of control, you can call 911 until you're blue in the face. You can send up fucking smoke signals and the ambulance ain't gonna come. Right? So, but we don't see that side of it. We're so stupid that we don't understand, right? But there are people who are looking at all of that, who are working in emergency management, who see, like, this thing is tenable. This thing could collapse. But we're so used to it just functioning because we don't have the acumen to understand why it functions. It just functions. But there are people who make it function. And they're saying, hey, listen, this scale could tip because you all want to have your rights, right? Which, you know, the right to be stupid, the right to kill somebody else. I saw Tretch had a party. Did you guys see that online?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Where was it at?
I don't know where it was, but it was a super spreader for sure.
Oh, okay.
It was a super spreader for sure. I saw 3 people in there with masks on, and the other 400 people didn't. And so I'm saying to myself, why y'all?
But I thought that I'm asking you a question. I don't know what city it was in, but it was obviously in that little area. I thought that you couldn't do that. I thought that
You can't. You
couldn't
cannot.
do that.
You cannot. This is what my point to
How was
you.
he able to do that?
You cannot do it. You know, you're not supposed to. I mean, you ain't supposed to rob a bank either, but people still doing it, right? But, you know, you're not supposed to. But I saw Do It All up on the stage, doing it all without a mask, spitting on people, right? Right? Because you know droplets were coming out of his mouth as he was busting them rhymes, right? I mean, come on. Now, and this is a guy, look, see, and people gonna get mad at me, right? Because, oh, you're attacking people. But here's a guy who ran for office, right? Talked about how responsible he was, right? And he should be a political figure and all these other things. And he's up there defying science, defying what the government is saying that we ought to be doing, right? And endangering lives. That's what he did at that event.
So I actually heard that he was running on the mayor's ticket this round.
Oh, he may be.
Right?
Oh, listen, Jody, I got calls of people who are running. I haven't mentioned any of them yet. So yeah, yeah. Is
So I'm glad I live in North Carolina.
you know what, Jody? I'm packing. I'm not moving to North Carolina, but I'm gonna move far away from Newark because
So let me do you some justice so they don't come after you. So I saw it on Sheila Montague's say. So the strange thing about it was that Sheila then this morning put out this thing about the advisory board and wanting people to support her in this quest to be put on the advisory board because she's like this great person to be on the advisory board. And I was saying to myself, no, you shouldn't even be allowed in the meetings because you was in the middle of that party with no mask on, walking around, and it's just like to me, I don't know. It's like an ugly scenario to show such blatant bad behavior for the people in that city, and then say, "Let me represent you, city," which is how I felt about Do It All.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you're always on social media talking about who you are and what you do for the community, and like you said, just the spitting in the crowd. No, I saw 2 masks, so you saw one above me. So I don't understand how you represent. Let me just do a video with the mayor, and the mayor made a record in his office with the mayor with a mask on.
So wait a minute. So here's the hypocrisy now, right? So I want to know for all of you all, ask your beloved mayor, Ras Baraka, what he thinks of what Do It All did. Ask that question. See, you won't ask that question because the answer to that question, for him to answer that question, would end Do It All's political career in Newark. Right? Because the mayor would have to come out and talk about him being irresponsible, him being a threat to the community, all of these things that can then be bullet points for his opponent in the election. So the mayor won't say anything. And so this is where I say they're all full of shit.
Yes.
Do you understand? This is where I say that they're all full of shit. So Mayor Ras J. Baraka, you do your videos, you shut down these businesses, you threaten them with defying them of loans. Let me hear you threaten Do It All with not being on your goddamn ticket. Come on. Come on. Do it. Do it. See, you don't care. You don't give a shit about these people. Let us be clear. Come on now.
That's right, Eric. You want him to tell all his campaign dollars to just go right the hell.
Well, if you love the people, I mean, he did say that the people are the mayor, right? Isn't that what he said? Come on.
Yeah, I think that rabbit hole he's going to sidestep just like they did at the debate yesterday.
Of course, but but Diane, you got to go look at it. It was, I mean,
I'm looking now. Wait a minute.
hey Vincent, you got to. I mean, seriously, it.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
And
Where
I
do I find
and
it?
look, I don't call it. It wasn't a party. It was a look. Look, words matter, right? So it wasn't a party. It was a super spreader, right? And we got to call it that. See, you call it a party, then it gives it a different connotation. It was a super spreader. And because we know, like, follow the science, because we know the science, we know how contagious this is, right? We know that there is a greater likelihood that there were people there who have COVID than not. Right? And now we know that those people have now transmitted, the greater likelihood that they have transmitted it to other people who then left the party and went somewhere else without their mask, breathing on other people, right? We know this. So I'm not looking at any of those people in any innocent way. Because those people may ultimately, and this is how you guys should look at it before you judge me. Those people may ultimately be responsible for the death of one of your loved ones. See, because you don't know. You don't know who they were in contact with after they left that super spreader. And they call it the butterfly effect, right? So you don't know. And so, like Dr. Fauci said, assume you have it. So I'm assuming they had it. I'm assuming they're spreading it as we speak. As we freaking speak, they're spreading it. Because they can't say they.
I went on a couple of the posts and, put mask question mark. You didn't get any responses to that. You only got responses to how cute you are. I don't know. I'm trying to get to Jersey, so I was like invested in that moment. And I just didn't understand that. I was waiting for the cops to come in and shut it down. I'm looking at the space. It looks like it was a rented venue. I don't understand. How did they open the doors if New Jersey is shut down?
But wait a minute. The governor was on his page talking about how dare these Republicans come to Jersey City and have a party. And my comment to him was, Democrats are doing the same thing, having these fundraiser birthday parties, and now you got this.
Listen, look.
He was on MSNBC this morning talking about how crazy the numbers were. I just watched your governor before I turned on the show. I'm out of state. I'm confused. I'm confused about, do I come there? Or like, I thought you take a COVID test.
They
You take a COVID test to let me in. That's crazy.
They're cray-cray.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Well, look, they're selfish, right? They're self-centered. That's who they are. But you know what? Some of them today, they'll have masks on somewhere, right? Telling somebody else they should put a mask on. But for last night or whenever that party was, they were doing them.
Yeah, of course.
You understand?
Selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed, and they are the newest wave of super spreaders. No doubt.
And you know what else, Eric?
Speaking of which,
The video was talking about, or whatever you saw about. I'm not going to go too far on this one because this would be too emotional. About talking about the vaccinations and how bad. I think we were watching the same video too. That is such amazing propaganda, and it's not even. I don't find that person to be really smart. I'm not going to say the name for the purposes of you and your show, right? But a liar too. When you keep repeating hey, and if you want to debate me, come on. But every time someone came on your thread and debated you, you blocked them. I tried it. I debated you. I told you that all your stuff was you talk about the left-wing media, that you were putting up sites of media sources that don't even exist, or giving people information based on a blog, which is an opinion, and everyone who pushed back to your messaging, you deleted them or blocked them off your page. So you really don't have any science. And I just hope that people aren't listening to that bullshit on Sunday night. Now I'm done. Go ahead.
Wow.
That's fired.
I think you just dropped the mic after that.
That's right. Because you know what? And this is the truth. Because I love information, right? So even if I don't necessarily agree with your messaging or what you're saying, right? I'll listen. I try every Sunday night to listen. I might make it through 30 minutes. And then I'm like, I tried over. Listen, one night I tried, and you started talking to me about how you didn't want to be my friend anymore. Of course, the video, like, I don't need to listen. Just that emotional, whatever. I'm just saying, don't talk to people telling them that they can't trust sources, and your sources are blogs, or your sources are like, I used to call them pamphlets. My brother used to do it, right? My brother used to tell us he's researched things over the hill, and I kept saying to him, David, that's not research. Pamphlets aren't research. Blogs aren't research. Research is something totally different. But I thought about it last night. I was only on there for like 20 minutes. But I listened, and then I was like, wait a minute. How do you keep inviting people to debate you when everyone that has gone on your page and tried to debate you, you either got personal or blocked them? That's a waste of my Sunday evening.
Yeah, no, it's awful, especially, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I've done some radio shows where I disagreed with the host because I'm a Republican and I don't toe the Republican line or spit all that rhetoric. Yet, hey, I had one guy who just basically hung up on me in the middle of his show. So yeah, I feel your pain, Jody. But but there are these guys who basically get their money by increasing their numbers, false information and BS. So when people like us come there and shine a little light or another opinion, you got to go because you interfering with their dollars.
Well, on that note,
Sorry, guys.
Nope, that's
no,
all right.
it's fine. So there was a conversation I had over the weekend I thought was really funny with a cousin of mine, going back to me and my hair.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Did you get it done?
Of the stylist not having a landline. And my cousin saying, well, if it was a legit business, they would have a landline. And I said, well, why do you think a legit or non-legit business has to have a landline? In this day and age, a lot of people don't have landlines. So then I was on my page, and then one of the family members from Cotton Funeral Home said that she was in the area, she was in Orange, she went to a shop, and she told the lady, you need to have a landline because people can't Google and find you. And I thought it was just very funny that people would think or would distinguish a landline as a designation to saying you're a legit business. What are your thoughts?
My nephew has a business down here, he and my brother, 20 years. They both had their separate, same kind of business for 20 years off of a cell phone. I work for him while I'm at work off of a cell phone, but that is a phone number that is listed as the office phone number. It wouldn't be office phone number. I don't think that makes a difference if you are conducting business efficiently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would it matter?
That's what I said. So my same cousin, just 1 second, this is my same cousin who was arguing with me for at least 15 minutes about a business and saying, well, you have a landline and you're a legitimate business and going through all of this, to find out that she was calling some company that was represented by somebody in LA, and she saw the commercial and she called them, and when she called, she said it literally sounded like the girl was in her car with the window down. I said, oh, but it's a legitimate business, so I don't know what to tell you. She answered the phone. So
Well, there is actually the laws of business in terms of bona fide or bonus fidelity. In the state of New Jersey, it includes an office with chair, desk, telephone. But when they wrote that law, the technologies did not exist. So in today's society, you don't need it. You just basically can link your cell phone into Google. We're talking about now, a lot of people work from their phone because they got their office numbers and their corporate office numbers linked to their phone. So does that not make them bona fide or a legitimate business? You have to look at the legitimacy of the business doesn't consist of now the being in an office, but the legitimacy of business consists of the level of quality of service or product that you produce.
Yeah, I don't think that you need to have a landline in order to be a legitimate business. I think that people who look at that.
Old school.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
see, and Diane, you have an office, right? And so because you have a physical office, you have a landline, right? If you didn't have a physical office, likelihood is you wouldn't have a landline. Because where would the idea is you'd land someplace to do your business. So you go to your office every day, and now the phone can ring, and you can have a secretary, you could have whatever. If you're mobile, then your office is mobile, right? And the technology exists for you to have multiple people who are mobile, who are tied in, and the phone can ring. So, I could have my phone transfer to you if I wanted to, or to Vincent, or to Jody in North Carolina. The technology allows for that. It is, like Vincent said, it's a service or product that you provide. That displays your professionalism, your legitimacy, or your bona fides.
Absolutely. And like I told my cousin, I said, and then she went on to say, well, I called the insurance company and they answered. I said, let me tell you something. Especially with COVID, a lot of the phone lines are now rerouted to their employees' home phones or home base lines or cell phones, because everybody's not working in the building anymore. So I think, like you said, it's just the old way of thinking.
Right.
And at some point, you have to be less critical of what you think a business should look like,
Right.
especially if you're a business person.
Now, the other piece that I would add to this about your cousin, you said, right, trying to get in touch with them. If you are a business and you do not have a landline, you have to make yourself known, right? So you can create whether you're using your social media pages or building a simple brochure website, right, which is just a landing page and maybe one interior page, a contact us, where in the contact us area you can put your cell number, right, so people know how to contact you. Because when people go, yes, people will start off old school. They're trying to find you, so they'll look for your phone number. If they can't find your phone number, they'll Google the name of your business. And if the name of your business is not available, then they don't know how to contact you, and you're losing business.
Correct. That's why Google hits a lot of people's cell phones for contact information that they put on their phone book. Oh, by the way, full disclosure, Cotton Funeral Business are my in-laws.
Oh, there you go.
In terms of 6 degrees of separation. But, even though they are in-laws, I still think that, it's a little bit old school in terms of their understanding of businesses in today's society.
It's not theirs. She's a member of the family, not the business itself. She's just somebody. Yeah, I didn't say who the person was. Yeah, so it's not them that it. Yeah, so clear that up.
Yeah, well, clear it up. She old school. Wake up to the 21st century, girl.
Yeah,
But
so 12:01. Have a great day.
All right, guys. Hey, listen. Enjoy your day. Hey, listen. Diane asked me to take. Look,
the show tomorrow was on suicide.
Vincent,
On my show, yeah.
manage their expectations.
wait a minute. Tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's Tuesday, Vincent.
Oh, tomorrow's Tuesday, Deidre Viney Day.
Yes, tomorrow's
Yeah.
Deidre Viney Day.
No, on my show, the wise ones are doing a show on suicide.
Today?
Tomorrow.
Thursday, Vincent.
No, tomorrow, Tuesday. They're also going to be on my show Thursday. But
Oh, they're doing their own show on
launching their own
suicide.
show.
We
The
should
wise
promote that because listen, and I'm gonna say this. I know we're out of time, but suicide is on the rise.
Yes.
You know, because people are confined, right? Abuse is on the rise. You know, domestic abuse, domestic violence.
Yeah.
So we need, you know, we'll talk about that. So post the link so people can watch that, Vincent, and maybe I'll watch it too, and we can make that part of our second hour conversation after Deidre. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, stay warm. Check in on your loved ones. Make sure they got heat. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
That's right. Stay away from everybody that was at that super spreader yesterday. Love you too, man. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask.
Do it all, K-E-L-L-Y?
Do it all, Kelly. K-E-L-L. I think it's E-Y.